a woman is the cradle of any civilization, Western or Indian.
So Chanakya had a very intelligent take on how to keep the king successful by empowering the woman behind the king.
Absolutely. They are the brains. The queen is already made. The dish is born. The king has to be trained.
Data mining for food was done by Chanakya. And this was in which century?
4th century BC, roughly 2400 years ago. The whole country, both sides are on war. How do you solve this problem? Call them over for food. Because I think food is such a basic human requirement.
What was Chanakya's take on farmers, food, grandmothers, Ayurveda?
If you give him a chance to a real farmer in India, he can be more mighty and powerful than any chairman of a multinational company.
Welcome back to Gut Story. I'm your host, Dimple Jangra, and on this platform, we discuss healthy everything. How to become the best version of ourselves. We discuss physical health, mental health, emotional health, energetic health, spiritual health, and even work-life health. How can you be healthy even in your work life? We have with us Dr. Radharishnan Pillai, who has been studying Chanakya for the last 24 years, 25 I would say. He's written 24 books, and he just told me that he has been reading so many other subjects like astrology and Ayurveda and design, graphic design, everything, almost 53 subjects. So there's so much intelligence that we can tap into, and I invite you all to learn as much as you can from this podcast. Welcome to the show, Dr. Radharishnan.
Thank you, Dimpleji. It's an honor to be with you.
It's an honor for me to exchange a conversation with you because I remember the last time we met, I presented you my book. And I thought you'd ask me questions, and you were just listening to me talk, and you flipped page by page, and you finished reading my whole book in 1 hour. And I was like, it took me 6 months to write it, so I finished it in 1 hour. I was so amazed by that meeting. I learned a lot. How to be a silent listener, like a sponge, and absorb everything. You love learning, right? Now, before I start the podcast, we always do this one little ritual. It's called Anybody Can Cook.
Wow.
Okay, it's very important today that we stop making excuses that we can't cook, we don't know how to cook, we don't have the time. So if you had to cook, what would you make? And what is a recipe you'd like to share with us?
Thank you so much. I'm a trained cook also.
That's a surprise for me, but I'm not very surprised because I expected you to have mastered many, many subjects.
Thanks to my mom, because she trained me like a homemaker.
Oh, wow.
So what to cook is a different subject, but how to cook is a more interesting subject. So I'll tell you an instance in my life, Dimpleji, when I remember I was in 10th standard, board exams are coming, and we are just few months away, and my mother gets a phone call from the native place and saying that my grandfather is not keeping well.
Okay.
I'm a single child, no brother, no sister, but trained in every household work.
Really?
And my mother was a working mother, and she had to suddenly go to native place. She booked a flight, and she calls me and Papa and says, okay, instructions when I'm not here. Number 1 to me, and number 2 to my father. Instructions for me is very clear. You have to cook food 3 times a day, 3 different varieties. Okay, none of them can be repeated, and you have to wash everything. Okay, and keep it clean and spick and span till I come back. And instruction number 2 to my father, no excuse of 10th standard exams coming up. And also understand that probably the real success of any food is the love ingredient that you bring in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we love our grandmother's food, right? It always tastes good. So what recipe would you like to share with us or teach us today?
Which I tried on my wife.
Okay.
It succeeded, but she made sure I'm out of the kitchen forever.
Because you're replacing her, you're threatening her area, her territory.
But I didn't realize it because I want to impress her after marriage कि पति को भी खाना बनाना आता है. So I tried to remember dahi vada at that time.
Okay.
And I was pretty good at it. Was
good at it. It's become history now. Okay. I want to learn as much as I can from you about Chanakya's Niti, which is your subject of PhD thesis.
Yeah.
You specialized, researched, studied the mind of one of the greatest scholars Indian history has ever seen, the kingmaker.
Yeah.
What does Chanakya say about food?
What does Chanakya not say about food?
Yes, that would be interesting.
Because food is such a basic element of human beings. It's survival, it's strategy, and believe me, it's also relationship building.
Using food to build
Yeah,
relationships.
so I'll give you an example what Chanakya says. If you want to solve any problem, two things, inter-dining
Yeah.
and intermarriages.
Inter-dining and inter-marriages.
So let's look at the two kingdoms are fighting. Okay, in Chanakya's times, and of course, when you get into fights, you can go to any extreme. Everything is fair in love and war. Now think about it, the whole country, both sides are on war.
Right.
How do you solve this problem? Call them over for food.
How clever.
Yeah, because I think food is such a basic human requirement in every culture. Of course, India has got specialized different culture for food. That's our soft power also. They'll call over for a dinner or something. And then maybe they also look at possible marriage alliances. Dushman ko sandhi bana diya. Coming back to food, there's such a subtle element about food. And in our country, especially right from Chanakya's times and even before, you'll be surprised there's so many varieties of spices. I just entered your kitchen
Yeah, you asked me for the spice box.
and you'll be surprised. Spices are not just unique in India, they are super unique in India.
Yeah.
What do you mean by super unique? Let's say, in a European country, if you say spice, it could be chilies,
Yeah.
some few varieties. But in India, we have maybe 500 types of chilies itself. So if a red chili that's coming from Rajasthan has to be compared with a red chili from Karnataka, they'll be different. And of course, you have the black pepper as a chili also.
Yeah.
You have green chilies.
Yes.
So if you look at it, without food understanding, you can never understand Indian culture. In fact, one of my teachers used to tell this. Agriculture is actually India's culture.
Agriculture is actually India's culture.
Because agriculture is about loving nature, being with nature, experimenting with nature.
And it's the backbone.
Absolutely. And we have put agriculturists or farmers into such a small segment of a society, not respected, not paid well.
Yeah.
But think about India minus food is not India.
Absolutely. Like, I think more than 60% of our land and our citizens are in farming, in some forms of farming. Either they are directly working on the land or they're involved in the logistics and sale. Without farmers, we wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
It's as basic as that.
Absolutely. In fact, there's a very famous quote by an agriculturalist. He said, and it's a foreigner by the way. He comes to India, and typically when you come to India, you'll end up in a metro city like a Mumbai or a Delhi.
Yeah.
But I want to understand India. So somebody tells me, if you want to really understand India, go to Bharat, the rural India. And he goes and works with so many farmers, understands, and he found something strange. And there's a very famous quote of his. If you're given a chance to a real farmer in India, he can be more mighty and powerful than any chairman of a multinational company.
How so?
So exactly what he says is that, what does a chairman of a multinational company do? He works with the resources, he works with time, he has got a product to sell, purchase. Now if you list down all the things that a chairman or a leader of a corporation has to do, this particular farmer does it. For example, if you want to get resources, you have to just announce in the village, everybody will come for farming. If somebody is going hungry, he said, okay, inka khana dekh lo. You want to understand logistics, he knows exactly which food will sell to which place, so export this. Or this grains are required here. He understands season, cycles of nature. There's a time for sowing, there's a time for harvesting, a time for plowing. And he understands much more than anything else the human nature. So he's actually a community leader and can be more powerful than the chairman of a company if given the right education, exposure and opportunity.
How powerful. And we so underestimate farmers in our country and I think many countries.
Including America. America, I love that country. Let me tell you. Every time I travel, I say, what great way of putting their resources in research.
Yeah.
So I think we have to respect the universities that they built. But I think over there also the challenge is between farmers and the so-called elite class that we belong to. So I think be it Australia, be it India, be it America, be it South Africa, I think we need to go back to nature. And the best way to go back to nature is either a farmer or your grandmother.
Grandmother, right? Of course, I wish everybody in the cities had a culture of going to the farmer's market. Almost every city now has a farmer's market. You buy from the farmer directly, engage in conversation with them, touch your fruits and vegetables, understand their aspirations, their emotions, their ambitions.
Feel the vibe.
And that's what grandmothers did. They would buy the vegetables by touching everything and then deciding which to cook. So, what was Chanakya's take on farmers, food, grandmothers, Ayurveda?
Wow.
Because I know these are all interconnected for you and you've studied each of these subjects separately.
So, Dimple ji, you are absolutely right. All of these concepts have been taken care by Chanakya in the Arthashastra. And we have to understand that India is a very fertile country. We are blessed because we have defined seasons. Okay, it's a rainy season, plus minus, it's a winter season. And we understand crops. We understand which flowers will come when. So there's a kind of a systematic planning which is part of our culture. For example, talk to any lady in the house and when she goes to market, she understands this is non-seasonal fruit or a seasonal fruit.
Right.
So this sense has been given by Chanakya in the Arthashastra. I'll give you a couple of examples. Okay, food for human beings, only one part of it. What about food for animals?
Yeah, that's a topic that we don't even think of.
Yeah. So today, of course, we have a lot of pets coming into houses. So it's like, okay, you need to have nutritious food for them. But can you believe that for elephants, you have different food?
Yes.
And more specifically, had special diet for pregnant elephants.
Wow.
Because that's the kind of special care for the female who's going to give birth to a child.
Yeah.
Now, I'm talking about food for one animal called elephant. Can you ever think about it that he actually defined food differently for normal elephants and war elephants? And war elephants were given liquor and non-veg.
For aggression?
Exactly. Now think about it, elephant is a herbivorous animal. It doesn't eat anything non-veg.
So how does it have a diet which is tamasic?
Because that has to be induced. It's more rajasic so that it gets aggression, because in a war, the elephant has to be aggressive. And that's why if you look at a lot of defense also across the world, the army, navy, air force, it's freely flowing for them. The liquor and the non-veg. It's not necessary that you have to consume, but you get into that mode of saying that, quieten your intellect, don't think too much, just shoot.
I've said that the Kshatriyas had to consume tamasic foods when they were in war. On the field, they would hunt and kill and eat.
Correct.
But when they came into the household, they strictly followed a sattvic diet to prevent domestic violence.
And coming back to the grandmother's story, actually food is also a medicine.
Yes.
He defined what is the quantity of food to be taken by which category, when, at what time. So typically if you look at, the Jainism culture, we say we should not eat food after sunset. How many of us realize that it's not just a daily ritual, it's a scientific way, that there's a direct connection of your digestion and the place of the sun.
Yeah.
So if you go into details, you'll be surprised, okay, why have the food before sunset? Today we say, okay, have early dinner. But there's a connection.
Yeah.
So the idea is that in certain parts of our country, we had, grains being in abundance, millets being in abundance, some part fruits were abundant. Some parts fishes were abundant. So this mapping, what we generally call a data mining for food, was done by Chanakya.
Data mining for food was done by Chanakya. And this was in which century?
4th century BC, roughly 2400 years ago.
BC, this is like before Christ.
Yeah.
So he could single-handedly understand how food was grown in different parts of India without the use of satellites.
I would disagree. Of course, he did not use satellites, but it was not single-handed. The best way to acquire knowledge is to partner with somebody who is an expert in that subject. So he had so many food scientists of that generation as his friend. They're saying, why reinvent the wheel? If Dimple already knows something, why should I study it? I just listen to her.
I saw you do that. I learned that from you. I saw you absorb everything from the book, and I was like, he just read the whole book in 45 minutes. That's amazing. So, Chanakya was data mining food knowledge, and he was partnering with food scientists, and grandmothers were also food scientists
It's natural for them. I would say any lady is already a food scientist.
because they spend so much time in front of the fire, the cooking fire.
And in the kitchen. And that's very Indian. So till I was in, I remember I was in Oxford, I'd gone for a conference and we had ladies, professors from various cultures, And there was this Indian lady professor along with me and we were having a chai pe charcha with them. So different cultures, different ladies. And in between, our Indian lady professor used to get away with a phone call that came from a house. And she used to discuss something, and she used to come back. So the other lady says, okay, why do you get disturbed again and again? Oh, my daughter is cooking over there. So she wants inputs. So I was telling her, ye dhania dal dena, ye rai dal dena. So how many times do you speak to your children? And both of us are surprised. Why are you asking this question? We talk to our children once in a week.
Gosh.
Exactly. Like we talk about our children maybe once in, not a week, but 3 times a day.
Yeah, once every few hours.
And I feel it's a strength and weakness also that ladies spend the whole day in kitchen. Breakfast में क्या बनाना है ये tension लेके सोते हैं. And the breakfast is done, you are planning for the lunch, you're planning for the dinner. It doesn't go on, it's go on, so on and on. Imagine a festival. I think everybody is so occupied. The strength because they love to do it. The weakness because they only do that.
That's a weakness, that they don't see outside of it. But the strength is beautiful because I remember I was talking to the CEO of one of the largest financial companies in India. And his son was leaving to have lunch with the dadi. And I said, oh, what about you? They're like, no, this is lunch only for the grandmother and the grandkids. I said, do you know what your mother is doing? He's like, what? I said, she's keeping the family together using food. She's a matriarch of the family. She will send you achar, pickle, to remind you constantly of the taste of her love. She'll send you papad, even though you live in separate homes. She'll invite for lunches and dinners, and that meal is planned and cooked by the grandmother. And when everybody has the same meal, jhuta food in the same thali sometimes, the bonding improves.
Wow.
She kept arguments and fights away from the siblings as long as she was in charge of the food that was served to them.
Wow. Wow.
And I noticed it only when I noticed how she was managing her 2 sons who were so happy and in love with each other. The 2 brothers liked each other. There was no family dispute and all. She was using food as a way to keep the family together.
Wow. And the power in the kitchen is always transferred from the saas to the bahu.
That's where there's a power struggle. I mean, of course, Chanakya never got married for a very wise reason.
You don't have to get married to understand human psychology.
But he was observing it from the outside, right? What was his take?
I'll tell you something about, because he's from the political science background. Actually finished off this problem centuries ago, we forgot it. So 2-3 things I'll tell you. He had actually empowered women to take decisions. But it seemed as if the men are taking decisions. And he paid them financially for that. I think the best woman empowerment is to give them more money than asked for. So, 2-3 examples I tell you right from the Arthashastra. Let's say the king of that generation was getting 1 lakh rupees as a salary.
Right.
Okay? Even though the king also requires some money for his expenses, so 1 lakh. Of course, 1 lakh is Indian rupee, is a new currency. It was called panas. That is the unit of measurement of money during those days. You'll be surprised. If you look at the balance sheets of the kingdom, there are 2 more people who get 1 lakh rupee. It is not the ministers. It's not 1, 2 more. And then suddenly you look at it, okay, who are they? One is called the Rajmata. Second is called Maharani. So then I went into details and asked my teacher also, okay, what is this? Okay, that king is very symbolic, but actually decisions are taken in the kitchen by these 2 ladies.
The Rajmata and the Maharani.
And look at this very subtle thing. Rajmata is powerful.
She's
so is
the
Maharani.
mother of the king.
Absolutely. So she can control the son and she can control the wife. Now the best way is actually make sure they come together. And they actually discuss. But if you imagine a person who's earning, let's say the husband of today's generation, he gives completely to the mother.
You're right.
The wife will feel bad. If he gives completely to the wife, the mother will feel bad. Say, ये आ गई और मेरा तो खत्म हो गया. Imagine giving that equally to both of them. How many of us know this is a strategy based on which today India is one of the companies is world's #1 in the food industry. Amul.
Yeah.
Amul is India's, no, it is globally #1 food brand. Amul.
Because of the women involved in the picture?
Not only that, the women are paid, not the men. Do you know the salary goes to the woman's account?
Not the man.
That's a strategy Varghese Kurian made. So let's say I'm earning 50,000. It is not given to the man, it's given to the woman's account. Which woman will allow her husband to leave that job?
Very clever. In fact, microfinancing, when it was done in Bangladesh, they noticed that domestic violence went down when they gave the money to the woman in the family to run the business. They say, right, behind every successful man, there's a woman, and behind every unsuccessful man, there are probably two women fighting.
For money.
For money.
Arthashastra.
So Chanakya had a very intelligent take on how to keep the king successful by empowering the women behind the king.
Absolutely. They are the brains.
They're the brains.
And the kings are only the face.
Ah, the kings are only the face. So he was also a queen maker.
The queen is already made the day she is born. The king has to be trained.
The king has to be trained. And he was fueling, empowering, enriching the queens in the background.
How many of us know that movie is actually only named Bahubali, but all the calls are taken by Rajamata Shivagamini?
Yes. The whole movie actually was her decisions.
Yeah. And one step further, do you know it is actually based on a real character, a woman leader, Ahilyabai Holkar?
Ahilyabai Holkar from the Marathi Empire?
Yeah, of course, the Maratha Empire, but she was the queen of the country then, or the kingdom then, which is modern day Indore. And if you see the movie, there's a lot of Shivlingas there.
Yes.
And Maheshmati is a real place near Narmada. And even today, there are thousands of Shivlingas being worshipped. So everything in that movie is actually about women. But what happens, okay, naam ke liye beta, to Bahubali ban ja. Bahubali ka bal is the woman behind him.
Very interesting. So actually it's interesting, the birth, the education, the warfare, and even the death of the child, those were decisions taken by the woman in that movie.
Absolutely. So this what Chanakya understood, and I can go one step behind also. The respect for the woman is not only when she becomes a mother or a wife, even before she becomes a mother. In our culture, what we call the Garbha Samskars.
Yes.
In fact, a woman is the cradle of any civilization, Western or Indian. And we give it a Devi form also. Yeah. But the idea is that don't just divinize it superficially, understand the thought. Therefore, even modern psychologists and scientists, brain scientists, have discovered the male and the female brains process differently. They think differently, they sense differently. They understand vibes differently. And of course, both have to come together. But the thing is that we have kept so much more in the background that it's time enough that Chanakya comes back and say, okay, we need to take their contribution in building a nation and a civilization.
Very interesting. We definitely need a Chanakya for this era, and that's you in Chanakya's avatar.
Chanakya is Chanakya, I'm Radharishnan Pillai.
You're his lifelong disciple. I'm really amazed that Chanakya had so much intelligence on women empowerment. And sadly, now that we see, like you said, there's a huge divide. Either women have been sidelined and kept in the shadows in the kitchen, and that seems to be their weakness now instead of becoming a strength. Or we see another community of women who are having to fight and play the role of both father and mother to the child. They're also earning money, and they're also having to cook, and they're like caught between these two worlds. There's so much conflict in their personal life that it's reflecting in their health. They're triggering PCOS, PCOD, high levels of testosterone in the body. They're triggering infertility, gynecological health issues, fibroids, endometriosis. And I keep telling women there's a direct relationship to how you're running your career. That's how it's impacting your physical health. What would Chanakya do for, balancing those two roles that women are playing nowadays?
So, there's a saying, and I have understood it when my teacher told me this. A woman has to be empowered at 3 levels. Okay. First level is she has to empower herself.
She has to empower herself.
Why depend on somebody outside? So she has to feel confident I can do it.
Right.
The second is empowerment coming from the family. And the third is the social systems. So if a woman has to feel that, okay, I can do it, she can. Why do you require somebody else to, verify it and say you can do it? I can do it. But the problem right now, you told about these 2 words, and especially in today's generation, we see the working ladies. They actually go through a very interesting psychological problem called guilt. Imagine a full-time mother. You feel guilty, I should have been working. You are working, you feel guilty, I'm not a full-time mother. I'm leaving my kids to the nannies and the domestic help. Now tell me, who is going to solve this problem? You have a great husband and they go to work, I'll take care. No, but that mother in you says, I want to be there.
Right.
Why do you feel guilty? I mean, that's coming naturally to you.
Yeah.
Of course, when you look at, factors from outside, we have to handle it separately. But the reality is that why don't you empower yourself first? Okay, I'll take care of myself, I'm capable enough. The conflict starts with non-clarity of your own roles. I know this, that, woman can do multitasking. But the thing is that if you feel guilty, you'll not be able to do either. That's why the very famous Indira Nooyi.
Indra Nooyi, yes.
The day she becomes the president, global president of PepsiCo, she comes home and talks to her mother.
Yeah.
This is like the highest post you can ever get. But did you see that the fridge doesn't have milk? I said, what? But my question is that, okay, she could have felt, okay, I mean, that's secondary, but she rushed to get the milk that's required. That means somewhere you feel happy also getting that milk.
Yeah.
And you feel guilty also that you're not being appreciated for being a corporate CEO. Let's not look at what the mother said. Let's look at how you take what the other people talk about your achievements.
Yeah.
So the first thing is about yourself. The second is family. And when I say family, it includes the other woman in the family. Not just your spouse or your children. I remember when my marriage happened, my mother was a working lady and so was my wife. And she was highly qualified, performer, MBA finance from the financial world. And my mother actually tells her in front of me, बेटी याद रखना कभी जॉब मत छोड़ना इस पति पे कभी डिपेंडेंट मत होना.
Oh my God.
Like, what are you here, her mother or my mother? I forget all motherhood and all. But a woman should always have her own source of incomes. Now, remember this, of course, she was always a working lady and all. But what was interesting is that when we went the family way, my wife Sureka decided to quit her job. And my mother warned her, don't do that, don't do that. But I said, you decide, it's your choice, I'm not telling no. So yes, not only the spouse, even the other members of the family, the ecosystem has to support her. But comes the final factor of woman empowerment is the social structure.
Right.
In so many communities, women are not allowed to work, even they want to work. Therefore, a lot of people become rebellious. Why can't I work? Why can't I do something on my own? No, and there are a lot of these factors in certain communities, certain cultures की नहीं आपका काम सिर्फ किचन में है. किचन में भी काम करूँगी और बाहर क्यों नहीं कर सकती? And Chanakya had an interesting solution for that. So this has been used in the modern day also. I don't know if you heard about the Lijjat Papad model.
Yeah.
It's actually derived from Chanakya's theory. So let's say a woman want to work, okay, but she can't get to the house. No problem. The work will reach you at your home. And we saw that social changes sometimes take a long period of time. Because when you have to change a culture, outlook towards a woman, a lot of people say it's not safe to go out. Who decides all this?
Yeah.
The thing is that can you at least start with yourself? It takes 1 minute to empower yourself internally, and maybe it takes generation to empower women externally.
Right.
Can you start with yourself?
Interesting. This is very nice. That hybrid model that Chanakya thought of and now we are adapting could actually make so many more women happy, because I find a lot of women struggling with mental health, emotional health when they come to the clinic for their health checkup. And I tell them that, you can't address the disease without addressing your mental health.
Yeah. Tata Group started this in India centuries ago, almost a century ago, where they had baby crutches.
They had babysitters.
Imagine, I'm talking about 100 years ago, the first, I think one of the companies of Tata's, of course we know about the Taj story, the hotel story, but what's important is that they also had what we call the Empress Mill.
Right.
And they had baby crutches, so women used to come to the factory with children And there's a very famous saying of those ladies, I bring a child to the factory, in the evening I take back a healthier child.
That is such a blessing.
That's a great empowerment for women. You know, that psychological fact, my child is safe, it's been taken care, nutritious food is taken care. And I'm also taken care, I go back. Which woman will leave that? And one last, especially a suggestion to all those people who are corporate leaders,
Yeah.
make sure that women go through what is called career breaks. Give them a break. Send them on a sabbatical. Because they require that break for mental health, for maybe rejuvenating themselves. In India, we don't have that culture. I mean, Saturday, Sunday holiday, really? She's working more at home.
Yeah. A woman has to work harder to prove herself, sadly, in the corporate circles.
That's where I think policies towards women is not just about, encouragement, hybrid model, but also sensing they need to go out for a vacation. I know of companies which actually have tickets for the whole family sponsored to go on a honeymoon and a vacation.
Interesting.
Require this maturity to understand male and female working together is productivity, not just men versus women.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, while you were saying this, I was visualizing my own office if we were doing it right. So at one point in time, we were 100% female dominated business. Now we're 90% female, 10% male. And I realized the women in my office were keeping the expenses on a tab. Because my therapist would get involved in decisions like buying new furniture, buying a new fridge, what food to order. They would say, ma'am, ye nahi, wo lete hai. This is too expensive, let's take this one. And I'd be like, why do you care if we spend a little extra money, it's okay. They're like, no ma'am, don't waste money. And I realized they were actually keeping the expenses on a tab in my office. And the men liked coming to office because the office always smelled good and looked clean, extra clean. And the clients also felt that. Yeah. Because they converted it into a home rather than an office. Yeah. So it's amazing if corporates can actually tap into that woman's innate quality to nurture, to nourish, to heal. The company's productivity and profitability also goes up.
And the mental health issues will come down.
For both male and female.
Yeah.
So for the corporates who are watching this, they really need to listen to this podcast. Health is such an important factor. And Chanakya understood health of the Janta working for the king as well?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, coming back to the point of food, the food that is being given to everybody in the society, not just the king or the queen or the Maharani, it was actually personally monitored by the king.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's not like, okay, what's the menu for today?
Yeah.
What's the nutrition value?
Yeah.
Is it seasonal fruits or is it artificial fruits? Is it local food or have you imported the food? The king had to keep a tab on that. And there's an interesting practice during those days. You know, if you look at maybe even that movies and serials, the king will have a bada thali, huge. It is not for eating.
Tasting?
It is for display.
Okay.
Display not in saying that, it's not just about beautification. So let's say the 100 items. Do you think anybody can eat 100 items? No.
No.
But that is a time that the ministers and the queen would actually use to tell what's happening in the kitchen on every house in this kingdom.
Every house in this kingdom.
Yeah.
So every item was displayed on the king's
Exactly.
thali?
For example, it's summer season. In India, it's like mango season.
Yeah.
So he'll say, okay, mango.
Yeah.
So he knows that what I'm eating is also eating in every house. Okay, it's a different variety of mango. He just while eating asks, ये कहाँ से आया? वो एक व्यापारी आया है. This is not our regular Alfonso mango. It's a Kesar one coming from Gujarat. So he said, type. Okay, this masala. Oh, this masala is quite popular because some new variety has been tried. Okay, what is this new item? Now think about you're tasting food, you're eating food, you're sensing food, but with that sampling that's happening on the lunch or dinner table, you actually understand the vibe of the society connected to food. He also knows the price.
So you're studying geopolitics by looking at the food as to who's entered my country, who's selling in my country, what is the price of the food, are my subjects healthy, nourished and thriving, or are they deprived of nutrition?
Yeah. What a beautiful way, right?
Wonderful. So if you actually control nutrition, food and make it healthy, you win the loyalty of your subjects.
The biggest enemy according to Chanakya is actually hunger.
Hunger makes us do bad deeds.
Anything, once you're not steady, first check the nutrition value. So even if you look at even modern day treatments, Somebody who hasn't had the enough intake of food, water, liquids, they actually put into your body, right? Maybe through a syringe or maybe through injection, or maybe okay, have some juices or fruits. So hunger is the biggest enemy because you lose your mental balance when you're hungry. So I'll tell you there are 3 to 4 steps of quality of food check.
Right.
Food check quality, I'm not talking about adulteration alone. Of course, that's a minimum quality food check.
Yeah.
But you know one thing, one is called Shuddhata.
Shuddhata.
Yeah? Swachhata.
Purity, and swachhata is hygiene, cleanliness.
So Swachhata, Shuddhata, and then definitely Pavitrata and Divyata.
Divinity.
Yeah, because in most of the houses in India, we first offer the food to God. And it's a prasad. So it's right from physical hygiene, it has to be clean, neat. Yes, that is Swachhata. Shuddhata, the food has to be pure. Divyata, it has to be divine. It also has to be spiritual. So when a mother cooks at home, it's all the 4 combined. So imagine every household has got all the 4 parameters. Can you fall sick?
So there is Shuddhata, Swachhata, then there is Divyata
and Pavitrata.
and Pavitrata. So it is divinity, purity, and cleanliness and hygiene. Powerful. So if these 4 elements are in place, it's impossible for a child to fall sick.
Absolutely. Anybody for that matter. Why only child? Even the grandparents.
They depend on what
Food was never a problem in India. Food was never a problem. And you know, if you remember this very famous statement of that celebrity chef who was in US.
Yeah.
In India, I never understood what is hunger till I came to US. Because we give food to anybody and everybody. And if you're hungry, just go to any local temple.
You'll find food.
Prasad mil jayega.
Langar,
Langar.
Amritsar, the Golden
Absolutely.
Temple.
And we have a goddess in the name of Annapurneshwari. So I think abundance of food is never a problem in our country. Go to any house and just knock the door, make sure the lady comes out. Ask her food and she'll give it. I'll tell you an instance, you'll be surprised about food and Indian culture in war. War?
How do you use food there?
So if you look at Mahabharata,
Yeah.
you know the Pandavas and Kauravas fought with each other, killing each other. But do you know one thing? They came home and they were all cousins. They had food together in the evening.
They went to battle to kill each other, but at night they would eat food in the same
Sold
home.
by the same ladies.
How is that possible?
That's Indian culture. You cannot understand it logically. आप झगड़ा करो ठीक है, but बाद में dinner table पे I control you. It is a documented fact.
They ate food together at night.
Yeah.
After
And they
having
made strategies to defeat the other after the food separately. But that's Indian culture. You may fight a battle with your own cousins in the courtroom. When Diwali you're back home,
Diwali, you're back home
your mother makes sure you're back home eating the same prasad.
from the same plate or the same table at least.
That's interesting because food is a very different element. The physical food, the taste, the aroma. But what about the other human factors? The sensitivity to it, the culture to it. For example, why do you think all the invaders came to India?
For the spice.
Absolutely. Spices, because so much variety. And I'll tell you, there was a time when the Europeans were in India and they did not have money to pay their employees.
Right.
You know what they did? They spoke to all the employees and the soldiers of the army and all those things that this month we don't have cash flows enough to pay you in whatever pounds or dollars or whatever. Can we pay you in spices?
Spice was a currency
And they actually were more than happy.
to take the spices.
Think about they actually took spices and paid them and they're happy. Maybe it's a currency is one part of it, but they can use it as a medicine also. So spices in India has been our strength. Food of India has been our strength. Today you go to any part of the world, an Indian restaurant is so valued. So valued. I mean, maybe a Punjabi restaurant, it could be a South Indian restaurant. But you say it's not just Indians who go there. It's not just Indians who go there. Everybody says, acha, maybe they have some vague idea, but once you enter, you can't exit.
True. A lot of my expat friends loved their time in India because of food. And they kept coming back to India every year using holiday as an excuse, but it was actually food that was bringing them here.
And they still go to those, the raste ka vada pav wala.
The kati rolls, the vada pav, the paratha.
And you may wonder, hygiene wise, forget hygiene. I don't get this there.
I was shocked because, they ended up introducing me to a lot of the street food that I probably didn't want to eat. And I ended up tasting a lot of cuisines in India because of them. Like the local food in the villages, in Maharashtra, when we went to see the farmers, they had this mirchi, very spicy mirchi as a sabji. They literally made like a big bowl of chilies chopped up with a lot of spices, and that was a sabji. And I was wondering, why would they eat something so spicy? But it rained a lot there. So they were possibly using it to boost their immunity against bacteria and virus. So it's interesting, you're using food to control your workforce, your women workforce. You're bringing them back into...
Include men also, they love food.
Men also. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? So you're using food also as a geopolitical tool and a warfare tool. And you're using food also to control a person's psyche. Like Chanakya had 3 different types of food.
Yeah. Physical food, mental food, intellectual food.
Interesting.
The physical food, we I think spoke a lot about it, the dishes, the varieties, the culinary display, everything. But comes to mental food, isn't emotions a mental food?
It is.
Look at the voices that we hear, the sound. In fact, a lot of people can't differentiate between a music and a noise. Tak, 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 tak. For somebody it could be music. For somebody said, no, what is this noise? Just shut off and go to sleep. That's why legally, 10 o'clock ke baad you can't make too much of noise. But you know what? The mind of a person and the sound or the emotions he goes through also is a food. Think about somebody listening continuously to loud music for 20 days.
That would be exhausting.
He'll become violent.
Yes. That makes sense.
Change the other way around. Somebody is very violent. Today there's music therapy.
For children also who are going through PTSD.
So, I know people who come home and play flute, soothing, classical music, and they've seen the effects. Why only human beings? Even for plants, and they can sense it. What about intellectual food? What kind of books are you reading? What kind of podcast are you listening to?
Yeah.
They are also intellectual food. Imagine you are just taking crap. That's a saying in our world of academics. One of my friends who is an expert in AI. Today a lot of things keep coming us, But it is actually a rubbish in, rubbish out. So we keep putting everything rubbish into the internet. That will only throw you out in the form of AI.
Right.
So are we actually putting good podcasts like these? Can we put more spiritual message, because they are very philosophical in nature?
Yeah.
Otherwise, information can actually ruin your intellectual health. And today we have a lot of other issues also.
Because of this.
Absolutely. So physical food, what you intake at the mental level and what you intake at the intellectual level. There's also food. Therefore, there's a annam. Annam is food is not only at the physical level but all the levels. Make sure you have quality hygienic food at all the levels.
It's so interesting. As you speak, I'm trying to piece different parts of my life to see if I'm doing things correct. Right? And while you were speaking, I just remembered the last few days, ever since I got these new plants, I started feeling very responsible for them, because they can't move and go get their own nutrition, and I chose to buy them. So in the morning, I make plant food with all the leftover vegetables and fruits, and we ferment the water, then we feed the plants. Today there's vitamin C in the plant food, tomorrow there's iron. But we also sit together and listen to Om chanting music for 2 to 3 hours on a loudspeaker, which is not harsh for the ears. So my plants and I sit together and listen to music for 2 hours in the morning. And I just realized they're flourishing ever since then. And so am I. I feel more productive, healthier, no pains and aches. Those unexplained pains and aches that you have because you're traveling in a city and traffic. So this mental food is very interesting. And this intellectual food is also becoming like a new thing. The books you read, the music you listen to, the podcasts you listen to. What would you listen to?
So for me, it's always reverse. I start with spirituality, intellectually, emotionally, of course, and physically. So I think the best food you can give to your soul is meditation.
So you start your day like that?
Yeah, I do that. I've been very fortunate to be born in a family where spirituality is a part of our culture. When I say spirituality, I'm not mixing it up with rituals.
Right.
Of course, that's a part of every tradition. Diya jalao, puja karo, mandir mein jao. That was part of it. But to sit down every day morning when you get up from the bed, quietly for 2 minutes.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of ladies especially, late ho gaya, bhago. The whole day will be bad.
Yeah.
My father was a yogi. He used to meditate for 10 hours a day.
10 hours.
That's a day. Imagine the kind of an ecosystem I was born in.
This is your father.
My own father. So I say I'm lucky to be born to a yogi.
So you had that gene in you already. That's why you
Maybe.
ended up studying
Maybe.
53 different subjects
Yeah.
and interlacing all of those in your mind.
And he used to always tell me, listen, whether it's a good day or a bad day,
Yeah.
it has to start and end with meditation. And if possible, in between, try and do it. So
Interesting.
you say, okay, first thing in the morning, okay, come on. Or 6 baj gaya, chalo bathroom, wait.
Huh.
1 minute, that's all.
Huh.
Even if you are late, 1 minute is still manageable. 10 seconds,
Yeah.
sit down quietly with yourself. Don't just get thoughts running around, because the first thing when you're woken up is the thoughts take over you, and that is followed in action. Just be there, connect to the supreme soul or whatever. Just be there quietly. Then you plan your day. And therefore, one of the suggestions Chanakya gave, first thing in the morning is get up with a soft music. Everybody can't be having a quiet mind. Then one of the recommendations I would suggest to everybody, because most of us now wake up with the alarm in the mobile. Make sure your ringtone in the morning is soft. A lot of people have this loud ringtones, and then not only you but the whole family gets disturbed. You have to wake up, alarm is required, you require a backup, all those things is fine. Some people keep 2-3 alarms also.
Yeah, because they keep snoozing.
But can you at least make a choice of having a soft music? Your mental health starts from there.
Very
So
powerful.
for me, it's meditation of course, but listening to music, soft music. I've been very fortunate to have a family of artists. So, I do play the flute in a while here and there. My son plays the tabla. My wife is a dancer. My daughter is a singer. So for us, having the choice of music, the programs, the concerts that we go to, they're very carefully chosen. Of course, once in a while you can go for a rock show and a pop show with
And
loud
disrupt
music,
it a
it's
little
fine.
bit.
Well, young generation requires it, and better listen to your children.
Yeah.
At the same time, we are careful that, okay, listen, good, now come out. You require that state of mind. So a family that eats together, a family that prays together, stays together. But you are taken one step ahead. A family that meditates together, you're more connected.
Lovely. There's so much health tips that, audience can take from this conversation. This is amazing. Now, what was Chanakya's take on Ayurveda?
He was an Ayurvedic expert himself.
Really? And so are you. You studied Ayurveda too.
Little bit, I'm not an expert.
But you've got yourself exposed to the science.
So unfortunately, Ayurveda is directly known for health.
Yes.
It's almost like a treatment for a disease.
Right.
If you study the philosophy of Ayurveda, there are many things about Ayurveda. Nutrition, diet, a lot of factors. But I'll give you from the health standpoint, there are 2 words in Ayurveda.
Right.
One is called Arogya
Uh-huh.
and the other is called Swasthya. People mix up these 2 words.
Arogya and Swasthya.
Swasthya. You must have heard about this word.
One is health and one is wellness, but I can't tell which is what.
Exactly. So I'll define it. Arogya.
Uh-huh.
A means no. Roga means disease. A person who doesn't have disease
Is Arogya.
doesn't mean he's healthy.
But he's just disease free.
Exactly. So one is to remove the disease, Arogya. So Ayurveda is used for Arogya. But Swasthya, Swa mein jo sthit ho gaya hai, one who is established in himself, is also Ayurveda. So actually Ayurvedic so-called, the potions is actually to make you come closer to yourself. 99% of the Ayurvedic treatments are generally to remove diseases. But you've been in that space. You can still have a panchakarma for those people who are not having any health elements. So to maintain wellness, as you said, is also Ayurveda.
Interesting.
Coming back, there are finer elements of Ayurveda Chanakya used.
Yeah.
For example, we feel hungry. At least 2 or 3 times in a day we require input. And in the warfare, he used Ayurveda as a tactics and a strategy.
As a tactic.
Yeah, so let me explain that to you. Ayurveda in warfare,
Yeah. This.
2 different disciplines.
Yeah.
So there's a saying in the armed forces, and I work with them very closely.
Right.
Armies cannot march on an empty belly.
True.
So all your patriotism has got a limit, right? Imagine you're hungry for 2-3 days. You can pull on, but then you give up, right? Your body doesn't have nutrition and all. And the enemy knows it. So the best way to defeat the enemy is to cut the food supplies.
That was the first thing they did, and water supply to a town or a city as well.
Absolutely. So that's how the strategy comes in. You know what Chanakya does? That's very interesting. He studies the Ayurveda plants and he discovers certain, elements from plants and all the study of his, that if you make a potion or a nutrient, if you consume it, the soldier will not feel hungry or thirsty for 3 months.
Oh wow, what is this concoction?
You have to study Ayurveda first and Arthashastra. But this concoction, when I said for the first time, I read for the first time, it's impossible. Hota hai kya? How can somebody eat this little bit of a maybe nutrient or concoction? Say no, for 3 months, impossible. But then I read an article about space scientists. That's one of my interest area.
Another interest area.
So do you know one thing? We today generally talk about astronauts going to space, moon and all those things. What do they eat in space? And they're there for a long period of time.
They have very limited dehydrated foods.
And that's prepared as a special nutrition. You can't have, roti, dal there.
Correct.
And you can't even throw away from your body there.
Yeah.
So there is a way that they prepare that special food nutrition for the astronauts. Chanakya did that in a different way. So it's possible that you actually can prepare a lot of elements from Ayurveda. One is to be disease free, one is to be well, but also to take care of the physical elements. And let me tell you, Ayurveda is a science given by the gods. We don't consider this as something that happened in the laboratory.
It's not man-made.
It is man understood but God made.
That's
A man who understands what God has created becomes a rishi. And Chanakya was a rishi.
Chanakya was a rishi. He understood what God had given.
Nature has it. In fact, if you study a lot of Ayurvedic text,
Yeah.
they will be like, where do they discover all these things? Through meditation.
Through meditation. How did they know Ashwagandha does this or a Shatavari does that?
So it is not like in today's generation you go and do testing, clinical trials.
True.
Full stop, this will work. Your Dadima knows it.
Yeah.
I remember I was in Kerala and one of my grandmothers, I would say grandmother's generation aunt. Okay. She spent a lot of time with the plants. And I was, on the way to the airport, just 5-10 minutes I had done my packing. And she had a huge, I would say, collection of plants. And some flowers also. Just went there and suddenly I had a bee sting.
Oh.
So painful.
Right.
And then what is nothing? How much time do you have? What do you mean how much time to go to the airport now? It's paining.
Yeah.
Don't worry. She goes inside, takes onion, okay, and just rubs it and then it will go. Surprisingly, in 3 minutes it went away. Saying that if you had 20 minutes, I would have given you something else.
So in 3 minutes, you pull the bee sting out of you using onion.
Yes. But think about it, it's not something you have to go for a medicine. It's
Yeah.
a common ingredient available in most of the kitchens in India. She just does it, okay. And she tells me the next part. If you had 20 minutes, I would have given you a different thing. So you have to rush to the airport, this is best for you. What? I say you should write a book and she will shy away. Let us document the Dadi Baka Nuska as long as they are there because we will lose all the knowledge, which is very insightful for every mother or woman in the house.
And we're already losing it. Like a lot of it has been lost in translation, misunderstood, being questioned now. We've gone from a country that practiced preventive healthcare life sciences like Ayurveda, homeopathy, yoga, to now questioning it. Post-colonial era, our attitude and perception has changed.
And the danger is somebody else can claim it
Yeah.
as an intellectual property. Haldi, basmati, you know the cases. Now this haldi or a small, treatment, how many of us know that for burns, if you have a burn in your body, maybe in the kitchen, the ghee actually is a good remedy.
Ghee is, we would always do that in the kitchen. You burn, we immediately take ghee and apply on the skin. We thought we were just cooling it.
And there's another saying that, क्या बोलते हैं, आग में घी डाल रहे हो. That means it only inflate. It is not true.
It actually smolders it down.
Are we going to use this in the next generation? Otherwise, we are only going to get dependent on pills.
We're questioning everything
Yeah,
from a
questioning
logical
everything.
mind.
So I think questioning is required, but I think Shraddha is also important. That faith that this may work. Try it once and you'll never go back.
Our intuitive intelligence has taken a backseat, do you think?
Of course it has. Too much logic is not good in the field of knowledge.
Too much logic is not good
Not
in the
good.
field of knowledge.
Yeah. In fact, Bhagavad Gita says this, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The person with faith gets knowledge. not the person with logic.
Not the person. with
Logic can never be completely proven. For example, I question you, give me an answer. I can actually question your answer also. It's an endless cycle. But when I say, okay, A is for apple is not logic.
A for apple is not logic. It's faith in the teacher.
Of course, but logic begins from there. So if you start with the foundations of faith, logic will come. But if you start with the foundation of logic, you never have faith in anybody, including yourself. So I think we need to balance both logic and faith. That's where real wisdom comes in.
Wisdom comes from logic plus faith. Having faith in your teacher,
Teacher, Nanima.
in your
Nanima.
grandmothers,
Yeah,
in your cultural sciences,
absolutely.
the traditional sciences that are taught in your country. That's interesting. Now, how would Chanakya design a diet for a king? So that would compare to maybe a CEO or a CFO or the founder of the company, for an employee that is doing a lot of mental work, or for someone who's doing a lot of field work. Like he had a separate diet for an elephant that went to the war and an elephant that was in the domestic life. So how would he design a diet for today's corporate people?
So let's take another example like you spoke about. Let's say there's a factory, there's a manufacturing unit. So again, there'll be 3-4 categories of people. The people in the management, the chairman, the CEO, the plant head. There'll be a person who is actually physical labor on the shop floor. He will design them separately.
Separate diets for...
Yeah. Okay, you can have common food, but the requirement of that labor who is doing physical work is completely different. Because he is doing manual work.
Yeah.
The bones are supposed to be more, strong. But for a CEO, that may not be the first requirement. He's doing a lot of intellectual work. He's planning. He's making strategies. He's creating policies. So that's all intellectual work. So हम बोलते हैं ना कि यार पढ़ाई करने वाले को तो बादाम खिलाओ.
हाँ.
So badam is not something only for the CEO. Of course, the person who is doing hard work can also have. But the requirement of a badam is a very intellectual input. But it's required for finer things. So when a design is done, and I'm sure there are a lot of experts in the field of nutrition, you being one of them, you need to understand what is the work and what is the productivity that is expected from them. For a salesman who is actually going to maybe the market, I think the liquid intake should be part of his diet.
Liquid intake should be part of the
Because
diet.
he's going out in the hot sun.
Yeah.
And he requires a lot of water intake because traveling a lot. And if you go to Chanakya, even you go to the level of seeing that not just water, but boiled water.
What's the difference?
Because see, again you go back to Ayurveda, there are some Ayurvedic doctors, friends of mine.
Yeah.
Doctor is not the right word, Vaidyas.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of, I would say, examples defined. What kind of water should you drink? It has to be boiled 8 times.
8 times.
Why 8 times? The Charak Samhita talks about it. Boiling water is one part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you boil the same water for 10 minutes, half of them will evaporate.
Correct.
But what remains?
The nutrients?
The nutrients remain.
So it becomes more dense?
Absolutely. So if you look at a chai, जहाँ पे दूध को ज़्यादा उबलाया गया है,
हाँ.
that's a different taste. The
Yeah.
nutrition is different.
Yeah.
So I think the designing that would be done for a food would be completely different for every level. I think it's a deeper science. We should get more food scientists involved. And I would go to the next level of saying, while consuming food, what is the ecosystem, the light, the music, the ambience. So if you go to fine dine today, the vessels also matter, utensils matter. If you are drinking a juice, the kind of a glass that you give in, that aesthetic sense is also important because it's not just about the juice. When you talk over maybe a cup of coffee, it matters. So I think one of the physical nutrients, but what about the other intellectual, emotional nutrients? So I think it's a complete science where your design is not just limited to the thing that you consume, it's also about aesthetics. It's also about the colors you choose.
While presenting the food.
Absolutely.
So anyone who's watching this definitely has to take notes on how to improve the environment for their workforce, especially women and their children, and then men as well. That's very powerful. So we also have this segment in our show called Instant Wellness. So it's like a rapid fire.
Okay, I'm ready.
Instant Wellness, I want to know the best tips that Chanakya would give through you. I know he speaks through you in many ways. So my first question would be like, what are the 3 must-have food ingredients for today's Chanakya Niti?
On time,
Yeah?
every time,
Yeah?
and with lots of love.
On time, every time, with lots of love. That was interesting. 3 important ingredients. Now, what are your 3 things that we must change in our life to make ourselves a better version of ourselves?
Early to bed,
Early to bed.
early to rise.
Okay.
Makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Absolutely.
Dadi maa ka nuska.
Dadi maa ka nuksa.
Still works.
Okay. 3 things you learned from your grandmother that you want to pass on to your children.
Also, grandfather is okay.
Grandfather. Okay. Grandfather's also
He is
okay.
in the army.
He was in the army.
So first thing, never waste food.
Never waste food. I'm so glad you said that.
If you want more, first take less.
Yeah.
So don't fill up and then waste food. Take less, take it second time, third time, 10th time. And grandmother definitely. I don't cook food for myself. I cook for the family. But I taste it before I give to others.
I taste it before giving it to others. Interesting. What are the 3 foods you would carry to work?
Badam.
Badam. You carry almonds to work?
Yeah, I do. I have almonds at office also.
Interesting.
Definitely water. And nice music to hear on the way.
Nice music to hear. And do you boil your water every day?
I do that. Yeah. The first thing I do in the morning is actually go to the kitchen, boil the water,
Yeah.
and then give to the whole family.
Same. That's the first thing I do. I first boil my water, cool it down so that by the time I finish meditation, I have water to drink. That's amazing. What is one productivity tool you cannot live without?
Time management.
Time management. Why is it so important?
I do multitasking. At any given point of time, I'm working on more than 200 projects. At the same time, I'm completely free because I know that, time is limited,
Yeah.
but strategy can be limitless.
Strategy can be limitless. So you do multiple things, you're multitasking, but at the same time, you have a lot of free time.
And the best time that I spend is with my family. No limits.
No limits to that. That's beautiful. Now, is this a myth or a fact? Being bored can boost productivity. Bored, if you get bored of work, can boost productivity. Is that a myth or a fact?
It's an interesting question, but I don't get bored.
You don't get bored? Because you're always reading and studying something?
So, empty mind, Devil's Workshop. So, see, there can be a small gap.
Yeah.
It can be a meditative mind of no thoughts.
That's different from being bored.
Bored is when I don't interested. Interesting, I'm interested in everything. And if you give me something new, I said, wow. I have almost like a child's mind, not a childish mind.
Yeah.
So if you tell me, if you look at a child, oh wow, interesting. And then it will take that maybe toy and say, after a few months you'll get bored. Why? Because it's explored everything possible, tasted it,
Yeah.
it threw it, it's not working, chalo yaar. Then go to the next toy.
Yeah.
So I'm like a child, I say, okay, I studied this subject, okay, next what? Next word, okay. So I think boredom I never actually have faced, even though maybe initially, maybe this post Chanakya.
Yeah.
Keep your mind active in a learning mode.
Yeah.
You'll never get bored.
Interesting. So you've studied 53 different subjects, right? From graphic design to tourism to astrology, photography, and even food. You also learned how to cook food. What are your top 3 favorite subjects, if it is possible to name a few favorites?
Yeah. I'll use a Sanskrit word
Yeah?
coming from Chanakya. Anvikshiki,
Anvikshikini.
strategic thinking.
Strategic thinking is your favorite subject.
Yeah. It's a subject, by the way. So I learn and I teach also strategic thinking. Second one, definitely sales.
Sales.
That's my subject because I sell.
Yeah.
Initially, I used to sell products and services for other companies. Today, maybe I use Chanakya for selling Indian knowledge. Selling not in the concept of making money, but I would say making them aware. So I'm also a salesman. I like sales, marketing, branding, and that's something that I love. Third one, interestingly, my favorite subject is law. I'm studying law now.
You're studying law. And how will law connect Chanakya Niti?
This is saying, a common man is afraid of the policeman. And the policeman is afraid of the lawyer.
Wow. So you will become a lawyer, study law to be able to...
So you don't have to be a practitioner of law to understand law.
Very interesting.
So you can have, for example, if I studied photography, doesn't mean I have to be a photographer. If I studied event management, doesn't mean I have to be event manager. It's a choice. For example, every mother who cooks need not have a restaurant. In the same way, I say, study multiple things, but let me know whatever you study will come to help you today or tomorrow.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And you've written 24 books.
I think 4 more.
4 more. How do you find the time to write these books? Like, that's another question altogether. But how do you chalk out time? Like, what is your discipline while you're still working? How are you writing books?
That's where Anvikshi comes in, strategic thinking. And I'll tell you, somewhere over a period of so many years of practice, I got a sense what the other person wants and put it into time.
Put it in time.
Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you, a lot of people come to me because they think I'm a celebrity. And
Yes, you are. I mean, you're like a powerhouse of knowledge for us.
So, my office, especially if you look at my team, I got a lot of assistants.
Huh.
So, Kartika, my secretary, like, sir, isko bhi milna hai. I'll look at the background, check, kaun hai ye? Okay. Principal of a school.
Huh.
Okay. Then, okay. What does she want? I want to come and meet you. Okay. That means I have to give her half an hour time because it's a long discussion. If a youngster comes and I want to meet you, I know it's only a photo opportunity to be put on Instagram. And I
Right.
can call 4 or 5 youngsters at the same time. It's called time boxing.
Time boxing.
So you put them into one box and saying, okay, evening 5:30 to 6 o'clock.
Everybody come.
So everybody come. That's a car because everybody wants only 2 minutes. If I go to the airport and somebody goes, are you Radharishnan Pillai? You look like one. Yeah. So come on, take your camera. I know what they want. See, time management is understanding what the other person wants. It's not just about you. The other person wants a signature. Somebody wants a counseling. And by the way, when it's a counseling, you don't actually put it on the time block. Imagine, I read this about a very successful CEO. Very successful CEO. His company was doing very well. One day his daughter comes and says, Papa, I want to talk to you. And Papa says, okay, beta. He looks at his calendar. Tomorrow 6 to 7 p.m. Time for you undistracted. Daughter says, okay, Papa busy hai. Chairman, CEO of a multinational company. And then he comes home early. Okay? He comes home at 5:55. Because time diye daughter ko from 6 to 7 or whatever,
Right.
And the daughter comes and sits and she starts. She's going through an emotional breakup with somebody or whatever. And she wants to talk to her father. Imagine what the father is listening without any distraction. The mobile is off. Okay. And then suddenly he says, okay, 15 minutes more to go. Because she actually must have only warmed up.
Oh.
You cannot put a timeline and say that, okay, 5 to 6 or 6 to 7 is your time.
Absolutely.
And you can't say that after 7 I have to go for a gym.
Yeah. Not with family.
And can you believe his timing and saying that, okay, 15 minutes more to go, jo batana hai, bata do. Arey?
That's so sad.
I can have that sense. Because I know when I'm sitting, I'm very focused.
Yeah.
Like today morning, I completed maybe one of the greatest achievement personal level. I completed writing a whole book in 24 hours.
A whole book in 24 hours.
First book, of course, took me 4.5 years. But you do it again and again, you make it better. I'll tell you it because and let me tell you, it was such a emotional moment for me. Wow, I completed a book and it's going to print. And it's a children's book by the way. And suddenly my daughter enters into the room and saying, Papa, this furniture is not looking good. I say, what? But I know for her, it's a very important thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the color of the furniture she doesn't like.
Yeah.
And this father is writing something, so what? I just put that, okay, wait, listen. I know she will end in 5 minutes. And the sun will come. Papa, you know what happened to Rohit Sharma? What happened? Okay. Listen to him. I know third person is coming, the mother. Now you look at, there will be distractions. Yeah. But distraction is also good for time management. It gives you a different perspective. Okay. And when you come back to write, okay, that's how a mother would think, a daughter would think. So you should have a lot of time management, yet you should also be sensitive. Everything can't be put in timelines. But if you have timelines for everything, you'll be able to manage time better.
Amazing. I learned 2 things from you, like boxing, multiple things in the same that are similar nature, and knowing what the other person wants in advance.
Yeah.
Helps you manage your time better. That's such a powerful management technique. And there's more free time, and don't put a timeline on your family.
No, in fact, family is not about time.
Not at all.
Family takes more time than what you think.
It's infinite.
This, I was telling one of my students, he's the CEO of a company.
Yeah.
So he's telling, sir, आपका एक बात मुझे जिंदगी में बहुत apply हुआ. What? I tell a lot of things informally, casually, but maybe somebody gets some insights. So I was telling, and saying that, if you're a boss because you're a CEO, time management with employees, time mismanagement with family.
Time mismanagement with family.
So when I go to my Dadi Ma, total time mismanagement. Because she wants to speak everything about the past again and again.
Don't
and
look
again.
at the watch.
If I'm in office, I'd stop my employee. Say, you told me this in the last meeting. You better shut up. When I go to my Dadi Ma, it's total mismanagement, but a lot of love. So the day I go to my house or the time I go to, I switch off the CEO role.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely clear. At family, what is time management? It's emotional management.
Emotional management. Don't measure love with time. Don't put a timeline
In fact, it's
on
the other way around. The expression of love is actually how much time you can give.
Powerful. Because the time that you've given cannot be taken back, and it's the
And
most expensive
I
thing
remember
we
this
have.
small exercise I did with the school students.
Yeah.
I said, okay, because time management is another strength of mine. Okay, so
You've studied this as a subject? You're doing research?
Also, yeah.
I'm not surprised. I know there's a book on this for sure coming.
Many books. Come to my office, you'll see many of them. So productivity, time management, because I'm a management speaker.
Yeah.
And a trainer and runs multiple businesses also. So I remember this, very interesting exercise I did with school children.
Right.
School principals comes to me and I speak to my children. So I have to give different examples. So I told, okay. And she gave me an interesting topic, time management for school kids. What? बेचारों को जिंदगी जीने दो, खेलने दो. You put it a time box and say, okay, this timetable. And then, okay, science period, this break. Forget it. But then what happens, since you have been called, you have to deliver something, right?
Yeah.
So I gave all of them saying that, okay, take a piece of paper.
Yeah.
All of you have to draw.
Yeah.
Suddenly you get the attention, okay?
Yeah.
I told them, okay, now everybody think about time, okay, and make a picture out of it.
True.
What do you think they must have given?
Was it infinite for them in their drawings?
Okay.
Time was measured in the amount of time they spent with family.
What is the understanding of time in an image? Express time in an image.
Clock.
99% people like this.
Yeah.
I was surprised. They were clocks and watches. But all of them had different understanding of time. Can you believe one person actually drew a heart?
Heart.
Somebody gives time to me, that means love.
Oh my God.
One
Such a
person
deep
interestingly had a
understanding.
flower and time. It takes time for a flower to bloom. Somebody drew a grandfather. My grandfather has got infinite time which my father doesn't have.
Wow.
Somebody actually drew something very strange. What was it? I still remember. It was a toy, teddy bear. My most loving time is when I spend with my teddy bear. We have put time into such measurement tools, Time means clock, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Okay. Is that time? No. In India, if you understand spiritually, we have different words.
Yeah.
Samay, Kaal, Yuga, Pal. So we only are talking about the Western concept of time measurement.
Right.
What one person can do in 10 hours, another person may do it in 1 hour. How does a woman do multitasking? Same time.
With the same one brain, one mind, so many different jobs.
So time management is a very different concept. It's not about how much productivity. Imagine, I told this example, in one day I could write a whole book. Can I do that again? I don't know.
24 hours you wrote a book.
Full book with 10 chapters.
We've announced this on this podcast. I can't wait for the book to come out.
Sure. Children's book.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for this.
I have to think like a child, by the way. It's not easy. And let me tell you how I wrote the book in what situations. I wrote it yesterday. Fortunately, it was in a holiday formally, Gandhi Jayanti.
Gandhi Jayanti.
Get up in the morning before the world wakes up. You start writing. I have a strategy of how to write. Number of words is calculated.
Yeah.
Per chapter will take 1.5 hours focused.
Yeah.
But you know what happens? Life is not what you plan on paper. Same day, there was a family get together. We had to go out for lunch.
Right.
I had a friend who lost his mother. I had to go for the funeral.
Oh gosh.
It was not planned. Third, I had to go and pick up my daughter from a dance class.
So many interruptions.
And still I completed the book in time.
Poof.
So what we're saying, you can't do everything because people have this mindset now, the other person disturbed me. Don't blame it.
Yeah.
There is a time management tool. Maybe we can have a different podcast on that separately.
Absolutely.
It's called unpredictable predictability.
Unpredictable predictability.
So you can't predict everything.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things are unpredictable. But can you predict that this will be unpredictable and make it a part of your plan? A lot of people actually don't have no, free times.
Yeah.
So block in every second, morning till night. Why can't you keep 2 hours free? Don't do anything. If something comes in, you can use it. No. So time management is about a lot of factors. It's emotion management, it's mind management, it's knowledge management, and also clock management.
For the last question on the instant wellness segment, what is the 3 best life advice you'd give to the youth that are listening to this? Because I know you write a lot of books for children. So what's the 3 best advice that you'd give today?
First things first, popularity is not success.
Thank God for that.
A lot of people have this misconception that if I'm popular, I'm famous, I'm good, I'm successful. No, your likes, your forwards, your shares on Instagram should not go into your head saying that is popularity. And that's success.
Yeah.
So, of course, you should be popular. There's nothing wrong in that. You should be famous, but for the right reason. So, never think that your instant popularity is success. Second thing, always have a mentor. Life is not going to be the same. There will be challenges, but if you have a mentor with you, a guru, teacher, friend, philosopher, guide, you will still have problems, but you will be able to navigate through them. Third important thing, keep learning continuously till you die. You are young today, definitely one day you will be old, but you should be more wiser when you get old. And the best way is keep learning, formally or informally. Maybe do a course, like I keep doing some academic courses also, but keep learning. And most important, if I were to take a 4th point also, be humble in success, because success is also not permanent.
Success is also not permanent. And you're learning something every 3 months. You're learning one new course every 3 months. You know, I want the audience to pay attention to this. Like Dr. Radharishnan sir has already done his PhD. When I see you, I see Chanakya. You know, that's literally the middle name that I have of you and the image of you. And despite having done a PhD, you did not rest on your laurels. You went ahead and learned 53 other subjects, constantly engaging in academic courses every 3 months. So I'm guessing you're between 45 to 55 in age.
I'm 49 to be exact.
Okay, I got the range correct. I got the range correct. And you've already learned 53 subjects in that time frame. So time is not limited. It's our perspective that is limited.
Time is a mindset.
Powerful. There's so much we've learned from you today. You know, I hate to say goodbye or that this episode has come to an end, because how time flew was magical. Like the number of things me and my team have learned today from you is phenomenal. The number of books you've put together in this one conversation and given it to us in digestible format, so that we can actually start boxing, time managing rightly from this instant. That is powerful. So I once again thank you, Dr. Radharishnan, for your time, for your energy, for your wisdom, for your intelligence, for your generosity. And I want to thank the audience that have stayed till this very end for investing this time in your wellness, in your health. As I say, this podcast is just a platform for us all to learn from, including me. We invite guests and we learn from their lifetime of wisdom that comes from experience, not just books, not just knowledge that is, taught in schools. This is something that they've mastered over many years. And I am so grateful for your time and energy and wisdom as well in understanding this conversation. Until my next episode, I wish you all abundance of health, wealth, kindness, compassion, passion in everything you do. Most importantly, the ability to forgive others so that you have more time and love for yourself. Here's to healthy living and a healthy you.